Welcome to Unsung Heroes with Johnny, Daniel, James, and Sam. Our goal is to leave no hero unsung. Welcome to the Unsung Heroes podcast. I'm Johnny, and I'm joined here with some of my friends. We have James.
Hello.
We have Samuel.
Hey there.
And we have Daniel.
Hello. That was German.
Well, it was also English.
Because,
so.
well, I guess so. Yeah. Never mind.
Nice
Try
try.
again in German.
Hello. Well, whatever.
That sounds a little more
Exactly.
German, yeah. So today we have Daniel, who will be presenting a guy named Oskar Speck to us. So Daniel, go ahead and tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, so Oskar Speck was a man who traveled all the way from Germany to Australia. But he didn't just travel like a normal person would. He went by way of water.
Ooh.
And
Okay.
spoiler alert, the only way that he went was he only went in his little kayak.
What?
Whoa.
He went on a kayak ride from Germany to Australia. Obviously, he had to make some land switches here and there to get into water, but
He had to carry his kayak sometimes.
yeah, carry his kayak, but
So my question is, how did this guy stand upright and balance himself with such massive shoulders? I mean, that's
Wait, what?
his shoulders had to be super muscular to be
I
able
think
to do
you're thinking
that.
of like a, what are those things called? That's not a kayak.
No. I'm
A
talking.
rowboat?
what?
I mean, is he like in a little kayak rowing with his little paddles, the whole way?
It's a fairly small kayak, and the guy himself he's very small. It's said that he was 5'10".
Would you say he was a speck?
Okay, that was
Yes,
bad.
Johnny. Yes.
All right, guys, this is your new host, James Gilbert. Will be.
Apparently, he only weighed 140 pounds, so that's pretty insane to think about. But
Yeah,
I
it
guess
makes
you have to
sense,
be
yeah.
skinny enough to, navigate fairly comfortably in that kayak. But good point, James, that he had to be, I guess, strong enough to carry it around.
Oh yeah, probably had real shredded muscles. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah. So before we keep going, I want to explain to our audience some goof that I've been making this whole time.
Oh,
For
yeah.
the past 9 episodes of the Unsung Heroes podcast. My microphone has been sounding fairly bad, and I was wondering why, and I've been trying to research and try to get my voice to be better for you, our audience, so that your ears don't bleed as you have to listen to me. And I figured out the simple solution was that I was talking to the back of my microphone.
Is that why I kept hearing you talk backwards?
No, that was a whole nother episode where I was speaking in tongues, but
Oh, no.
no. So all I had to do was flip around the microphone, and this is what you're hearing now. And if
Wow.
people comment and say, you still
Still
sound
suck.
horrible, I can't. I just, no
probably will
response
happen.
to that. But
I can't believe it's been 9 episodes. It's the 10th episode now.
Hey,
It's
10 episodes,
insane.
guys.
hey,
Wow.
happy 10 episodes.
First of all,
everyone.
yeah, great milestone for us. But also, stay tuned for more episodes, everybody, because the mic quality will only get better from here.
Yes. So maybe next episode, Samuel will turn his microphone around. Or... I'm just
I'm
kidding.
trying. I'm working on it, man.
That was some bad shape.
Everybody, really quick,
man.
just check your mic. Just double check. Make sure
Okay.
that it's turned. I think ours is good.
I'm seeing an off switch and an on switch.
Okay, don't press that.
No,
Don't do it. So Oskar Walter Speck was born in 1907 near Hamburg in Germany. So he's a German man, hence the German greeting in the beginning of the episode.
so
Clever.
smart.
Haha.
Oh, foreshadowing.
It's as if
Aha.
you knew he was German,
This is like the Prestige. As I explain the story, it'll unravel and you realize,
except you're explaining it the entire way.
yeah, you're right. Never mind.
No, there's going to be a twist at the end, right, Daniel?
Turns out he's not German.
He was
Haha.
paddling backwards.
His name is Bill Gates. And everyone clapped.
No, his kayak was backwards the whole
Yeah.
time.
Oh, jeez, guys, please. It's just a microphone. It's getting better.
It's not just a microphone.
Anyway, so
It's a
this man,
kayak.
he was 7 right around when World War I started, and he was 11, by the time it ended. He grew up in post-World War I Germany, which was a horrible place to live in. As a country, obviously devastated by loss, but also had to pay countless war reparations. So the economy was just horrible and was super, super bad. So he grew up did not have a good childhood. He dropped out of school when he was 14. It's mentioned that he also had a pretty abusive father. So his home life is horrible. His just everything on the streets are horrible. And this is kind of what sets the stage ultimately up for Hitler, as you guys know, because Germany is just down in the dumps and they, kind of turn to him. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
So, by the way, for any new listeners, we do have a rule on this podcast, which is we're not going to try to talk about a lot of World War I and World War II heroes, people who fought in those wars, because there's so many people. It's kind of cliche to talk about heroes from those eras at this point. That being said, Daniel, it sounds like you're breaking the rule here, Daniel.
Yeah, you're pushing it.
This man starts in World War I and goes through World War II.
Oh, no.
But he didn't participate in them.
Is it even
okay,
a rule now? Can we even call it a rule?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like a guideline.
Yeah, okay.
It's a suggestion.
Forgive me, guys.
Well, he didn't fight in them, so,
Yeah, there we go. Exception can be made.
It still sounds great. Keep going.
Well, when people were, thinking about war, all he was thinking about was kayaking. So as a young man, he just fell in love with the sport.
He's like, I don't know who that Hitler guy is, but I got my kayak.
Got a nice boat.
And so, around the time, I don't even think Hitler was really like that big because this is right after World War I. And around this time is when a cheap folding kayak is introduced, and it's called the fault boot. And so it kind of becomes a major sport in Europe. And people, attend all these events near the rivers and the lakes, and it just becomes this whole thing. So him and a few friends get into it. And in 1929, as the Great Depression hits Germany, the country was already doing so horribly, and it just starts to be even worse. It's mentioned that by 1932, more than 30% of German workers were unemployed. So pretty much a third of the whole workforce lost their jobs. So at this time, Speck himself was running a small electrical contracting company, and it went bankrupt. So he lost that job. And at that point, it said that he just wanted to get out of Germany. He kind of just gave up on his life and everything there. So he decided that he was going to pack up his kayak and board a train to go down the Danube River toward the city of Ulm and eventually make his way to Cyprus, where he was going to find some work in copper mines.
Hey.
So he was fascinated with mining. So he thought, I really hate what Germany has become. I just want to leave. And I heard of these opportunities in Cyprus, so I'm going to go there.
Hey, random fun fact of the day. Cyprus has been a place that has produced copper for thousands of years. So,
Wow.
fun fact. There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't say I knew that. So thank you, James.
Had to make bronze. Well, the Bronze Age, right? You made bronze with copper and tin.
That sounds like a Jeopardy question
Yeah.
for some reason.
What is Cyprus?
What is
What is
Cyprus?
copper?
What is copper? Yes.
The thing mined in Cyprus. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to transition from that to the story. So I'm just
Speaking
gonna,
of mining, what?
speaking of Jeopardy, his life was on. No, I don't know. So it's listed that he mentions in his diary that he kept that he was very thankful for all the rivers and the lakes that he goes through at first, and eventually the Mediterranean, because those are what really taught him the skills and gave him the experience that he needed to eventually, make it through the whole world. And so he, at first, is just, still in Europe. He's making his way down. And pretty bad for him is that only about 180 miles downstream, he's still in Germany. He completely runs out of money. So he has to pawn off a few of his belongings, and he has to wait several days for his sister, Greet, to send him some money in the mail. And that kind of is a start of his brothers and sisters sending him money over the years. As early as Hungary, he starts having to beg on the streets for money.
Wow.
So the life of a true hermit here. And he kind of gets bored by the area and kind of tries to go down through the Balkan regions. But he gets his kayak torn up while he's in the mountainous area there. And there's a river called the Vardar River. And so he has to go to a nearby town and get his kayak repaired. And during this time, the river freezes over. So he has to just wait there for the whole winter. He spends his winter there. And in the spring of 1933, he paddles out of there and goes towards the Mediterranean Sea. So it's at this point, it's almost been a year since he left his home to do this.
So he's like just kind of like just a world traveler wanderer at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a year. He hasn't even reached the Mediterranean. But
yeah, the Vardar River, that goes through, I'm looking at a map right here. That goes through like Macedonia and then through Greece, yeah? Mm-hmm. So does he go through that same river or different rivers to get out into the Mediterranean?
He does, yeah. He follows that all the way down to the Aegean Sea.
Wow.
To get into eventually the Mediterranean. So yeah, like James mentioned, that river, is going through Macedonia towards Greece. And again, this is where he kind of learns better skills of how to navigate well. He also makes a lot of changes on his little kayak. It said he removed the second seat behind him to make room for storage. He put like a splash protection cover in front of him, built a bunch of other stuff around him to keep him safe and whatnot.
I couldn't imagine kayaking in the sea. I mean, that's something else.
I know.
Well, did he stick near the coastlines or did he ever go like...
He did.
I guess we'll find out, James. Don't
Stay tuned.
No, it's a good question to help me keep advancing in the story.
Okay.
So yeah, he never left more than a few miles offshore. So he tried to keep on, near the coastline and kind of going from island to island as much as he could to make sure that he didn't have any like giant open sea runs, so that he was mostly in smaller distances. So he can do that fairly well all the way through when he's in Turkey. Represent, shout out.
I've heard about that country before. Tell us about it, Daniel.
It's like the best country in the world.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Unsung hero country. Am I right? I mean,
yes, we will definitely sing about that country. So from Turkey, obviously, he's going to go on to this country that's been producing copper for thousands of years.
Which country is that, Daniel?
It's Cyprus. Oh. What is Cyprus? People might not know about this.
You are so knowledgeable, Daniel.
Thank you, Sam.
I always got your back, man.
My advisor in my archaeology program spent years in Cyprus, so I hear way much more about Cyprus than your average person probably would.
You're not representative of the population, but...
No, if I ever need a Cyprus fact, I'll just call you James. Like in the middle of the night when I'm wondering about Cyprus.
Samuel, do you stay awake many a night, not able to fall asleep?
Daniel, who doesn't? Are you kidding me?
Seriously.
Don't lie, Daniel.
Not me. Nope.
We know that it plagues us all.
It's because he's dreaming about Turkey. That's what he's doing.
That's true, which is, close enough to Cyprus that he's like,
it's
close enough.
That quenches my thirst for Cyprus. That innate need for Cyprus that we all have.
What are we talking about?
I don't know. We're really derailing. So this man finally is decided, to make that jump from Turkey to Cyprus, and this is his first long open sea journey.
Yeah,
it's 45 miles straight from Turkey to Cyprus that he has to kayak, and he does it at night in order to avoid the daytime heat. Few hours after he's on his way to Cyprus, an ocean liner almost runs him down. It was so close that he could hear the people on deck, but he eventually makes it through. And after 24 hours on sea, he makes it to Cyprus.
Dude,
that's gotta be so terrifying. Like as a guy in a kayak, for an ocean liner to like almost run you over. That's gotta be so terrifying.
Oh, man. Imagine if you're on the ocean liner and you just see this guy on a kayak. Like, what do you do at that point?
Just full steam ahead, man. I don't know.
Well, it's a little boat. He's coming towards us.
If they were going towards Cyprus, they'd be yelling, "Did you know Cyprus is big?" No, sorry, this joke is getting way too old. But if there are any Cypriot listeners, we love you all.
Is that?
Yeah, that's
right?
it.
Oh, wow.
That is it. Yeah, see? Factoids. Title this episode the Cyprus episode or something.
Wow.
Anyway, so he gets to Cyprus, but when he gets there, he realizes, I'm really enjoying this. why not keep pushing myself further?
Wow.
So as he reaches Cyprus is when he finally decides that he's going to make this a whole trip all the way to Australia.
It's amazing to me. It's like, falling in love with the journey. It's part of the process, not the end goal, right? It's an incredible thing to think.
Do you know why he chose Australia, Daniel?
Why wouldn't
Just because
you?
it was like as far as he could get, like in a
Probably.
I think
kayak?
so, because, when you think about the other way around, you can't go to, you can't cross the Atlantic by any means.
I'm just kind of disappointed he didn't choose New Zealand.
Nobody thinks about New Zealand. Man. They always forget.
I noticed there's a trend that it seems to get left off of maps for some reason. Mm-hmm. So there are a bunch of like maps all over the place that just leave out New Zealand. So maybe this guy was looking at a map that didn't have New Zealand on it. And so
I guess the furthest distance he would have to paddle between two landmasses would actually be Australia and New Zealand. Would he actually have gone
That's
to
true.
New Zealand? So it probably makes sense that he
honestly,
didn't
that's
decide
probably
there.
why he stopped in Australia, because if he extended it to New Zealand, that's like,
Yeah, that's really far.
Yeah, I'm looking at a map right now, and just
That would just be like open ocean the whole way.
Exactly.
that's
yeah.
fair.
And with the area of Indonesia and all those islands over there, that really kind of enables island hopping and
Yeah,
staying near the shoreline.
that is true.
So where does it go after Cyprus? Does it go through the Suez Canal, or how does that work?
Yeah, actually, James, you are dead on.
And was
Oh,
this
boy.
canal still owned by or under the British mandate at this point, or was it?
Yes, it is.
Wow, James,
Ooh.
you should be presented.
If you can just stop, can you just
No, well,
can you
I'm,
just
not-
stop?
I'm making
You were
a connection
stealing.
here. Remember, in the Mad Jack episode, he came in 1948, right as the British mandate was ending, and they obviously own that whole
Oh.
region. So it's a connection there, right? It's kind of fun.
Good guesswork though, James, because he goes to the Suez Canal wanting to paddle through, but he's actually denied and not allowed to go.
Those
So
Brits.
he has to make one of his bigger land treks here, and he has to take buses and whatnot and walk around 200 miles all the way through, northern Syria to the Euphrates River, and kind of eventually make his way to the Persian Gulf.
So, Daniel, you mentioned earlier that his siblings were sending him money.
Yes.
Is he still getting funding that way?
He is, yeah. Throughout the journey, he keeps running completely out of money, and he reaches different stations. So before he leaves major cities or towns, he mails back to Germany, letting his family know where he's going to be next.
Okay.
So they can send all the supplies and all the letters and whatnot to that next destination.
Huh.
So when he arrives, he has his rest of the funding for the rest part of the trip.
Okay. Interesting.
And yeah, so at this point, he's still kind of low key, and he actually mentions in his diaries that he really didn't like the Middle East. He ran into a lot of corrupt police. His boat was stolen. He even mentions that he couldn't sleep at night because ravens would attack him.
Oh, no.
So he's really having a pretty hard time. He's running out of money, and there are tons of stretches of this land that there's no civilization. So he's starving and really unable to find food. So he finally makes it through. At the mouth of the Gulf, he goes into a port city of Bandar Abbas,
This is the mouth of the Euphrates?
the Persian Gulf.
Persian
I
Gulf.
see.
Did he go through the Suez Canal and into the Red Sea?
No.
Or he went.
No, he wasn't
couldn't-
allowed
he
to
couldn't
go through the Suez Canal.
Canal.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
So he had to walk through Syria to the
I see,
Euphrates
I see,
and then
yeah.
down.
Yes. So he walks through Syria, through Iraq area and Euphrates. Eventually, he ends up in the port city of Bandar Abbas, which is at the end of the Persian Gulf. And it's a city in Iran, kind of right across the water from Dubai in that area. So once he makes it around this bend, he's going to be in the Gulf of Oman. He spent some time there, kind of doing more repairs in his kayak and whatnot. While he was there, his kayak at this point is completely destroyed, so he had to order a replacement from Germany.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
And as he's waiting, there's a malaria outbreak, so he catches that, and he has to stay
Oh,
a total
no.
of 6 months, working to pay off his new boat and trying to regain his health.
this guy
my
cannot get a
goodness.
break, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's this part of the journey is really just long and painful for him.
This kind of sounds shady in some ways. How is he getting the funding?
He's got the German mafia funding.
I don't
him
know.
on
I
this
just
one.
keep asking that question because his brother and sister at some point, I feel like they would just maybe give up on this lost cause. I don't know.
Well, something like that happens.
Oh,
Don't give it
Whoa.
away.
Daniel,
I am
why don't we just tell the episode from
I
here?
am a prophet.
Just like Samuel's microphone, mine has a mute button. So here we
Oh, Daniel, we miss you.
Okay, I'm back. All right. Now, that convinced me. Didn't take too long. Anyway, shall we jump back into the story?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
he's working off his new boat in Iran and
Yes.
waiting for it to arrive and fighting malaria.
Correct.
So I'm just recapping the audience.
So he finally leaves from there, and he starts making his way to Iran. And in his diary, he includes something where he's talking about times he saw sharks. So he says, I quote, "I saw some in groups of 8 or 12, often very close to land in the shallow waters. Often I paddle through the beasts with no more than 10 feet distance between them and me to try to get a photo, but they always remain just under the surface."
Wow.
End
Wow.
quote.
Wait, he had a
That's
camera?
pretty intense.
Yeah, he had some low quality camera with him to try to document his adventures.
Another old-fashioned travel vlogger.
Yeah, really. I mean,
Back
seriously.
at it again.
Wow.
And then another day, he passes by this shipwreckage with this naked man playing bagpipes. No, that's a throwback to episode 1.
I love the throwbacks, man. That's great.
Yeah, no, and that didn't happen. So he finally gets to India. He's really worn down. He really wasn't crazy about the Middle East, Persia area. And he gets to Baluchistan, which is on the western frontier of British India of that time. A British immigration agent sees him as he's landing on the beach, and he goes up to him and says, "Let me congratulate you. A splendid performance." So he's like, "What?" So by this point, people are hearing about him, and on his route, people are starting to recognize him.
That's amazing.
And yeah, so in British India, he actually becomes a celebrity. And all these people start throwing parties and inviting him over. And if anyone here has studied or heard anything about British India, it really sounds like a very kind of lavish time.
For the British, maybe.
Yeah, for the British, obviously.
Right.
And for the kind of heads of the areas who would serve as vassals of the British Empire,
Right.
people did really well for themselves. So he mentions many parties that he attended and a lot of places where people would just throw money at him and try to kind of fund his journey just for the sake of being a part of it.
What a 180. I mean, went from malaria in the Middle East to partying it up in India. I mean, that's great.
This sounds like the scene in Forrest Gump where Forrest is starting to go on this run across the U.S. and then people are starting to join him. You remember that where
I love
the
that scene.
newscast is going around? It's like for some reason people just get so interested in the idea of a journey. I would join.
People want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
That's what's so interesting. And that's why you have stuff like, Kickstarter or Indiegogo or other stuff like that where people just want to contribute to the project to
Right.
be a part of it. I mean, obviously with some of them you get the product as well.
Yeah.
Or other people do Patreon, which if you guys want us to set one up and send us money, let us know in the comments.
I think you learned a thing or two
don't
from our
think-
man.
We're not doing that right now, just so everybody's aware.
Sorry, Johnny. Yeah, we're not doing that. This is all for fun and to bring a smile to your faces and knowledge to your brains.
And like Oskar Speck, it's about the journey for us. So.
Right, yes.
And we're all being funded by our siblings.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. We are self-sufficient.
We just want all our audience to know that we can pay our bills.
We're fine without you.
We are fine. Well,
My
don't
credit
say
card
it
number
that
is
way.
It's what it sounds like.
Don't make it so aggressive, man.
No.
All right, let's get back on track. So he's partying in India with British and Indians.
He is partying it up Mumbai style.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Did he actually go through Mumbai?
No, I just wanted to say that because it's such an Indian word.
It's like the one city you know. So you're like,
Anyway, yeah, so people start throwing money at this guy. It's mentioned that some person who was a part of the British clothing company of the area pledges to send him about 25 rupees a month, which equates to about $160 in today's money.
Nice.
Wow.
Which, isn't a ton of money necessarily when you think about today, but for a man who's traveling across the world in a kayak, that's
That's
a
enough
good
to,
amount of
to
money.
eat pretty consistently.
For
and,
a Patreon, that's great. I mean, that's like top tier.
At that point, he gets a lot of privileges.
first
so.
access to the photos he took while he was.
And Speck actually writes his sister during this time, and he says that, he kind of jokingly says he was afraid of becoming vain around this time because there's so much attention on him. So from India, he makes his way towards Sri Lanka, and around this time, he's really feeling the horrible conditions of the Indian Ocean. He's capsized multiple times around this time. He's just looking forward to calmer inland waterways at this point. But what's preventing him from going into those inland waterways is his fame. He says that he keeps getting like backed up by all these masses of people who wanted to see the great German who lived on pills and paddled a boat that could apparently both dive and fly.
Whoa.
Well, naturally.
So he mentions that this is why it drove him almost all the time into the pure, if dangerous, sea. So he's aware that it's dangerous, but at the same time, you can imagine a man going on a kayak by himself is very reclusive.
So you're saying he would stay away basically from the crowds of people?
Yeah. So he started making more dangerous out in the sea trips in order to avoid people.
Risking his life to
He's basically
avoid
the
people.
patron saint of all introverts.
Yeah,
pretty
that's what it
much.
sounded like.
You know what I was thinking? For any kayak company, this would be a great sponsorship. Like, give him a free
Dude, you're
kayak.
right.
Yeah, and be
Well,
like,
let's
oh,
reach out."
our brand of kayaks are the ones that Oskar Speck used or whatever. Like, that'd be...
They can dive and fly.
You know, that's like when, again, another throwback to Robert Bartlett in our second episode of
yeah.
the podcast. He was a sponsor of, was it Remington guns?
Yeah.
He was like, I shoot with Remington guns because I'm a man.
Yeah.
And they used kind of his status as this sort of frontiersman of the colder regions.
It is pretty funny that actually a handful of our unsung heroes were local celebrities at one point. It's just kind of funny that we don't know their names, but somebody knew them at some point or another because,
Yeah.
I mean, of the extraordinary things they're doing, obviously.
Yeah, it is funny to compare that to people like Vivian Thomas, who were not given any recognition during their time,
Right.
but towards the end of their life was finally celebrated.
It's very much circumstantial in some ways.
Yeah.
And it's also like a broad spectrum of different things they did. I mean, we're talking about somebody who fought in World War I, somebody who fought in the Revolutionary War, and now some guy who just kayaked to Australia. Like the cause of their fame is so vast.
Yeah.
That's really great.
This is the goal of this podcast, is to shed light on unsung heroes of all different types.
That's true. I mean, Oskar Speck so far is definitely very inspiring.
I know.
Exactly.
Just to like keep going. I mean, to push through
Takes a lot of
malaria.
endurance, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of endurance. Yeah.
So what's really interesting around this time, though, is right around this is when he arrives in Sri Lanka around 1935, which is 3 years after he's left Germany. And right around this time is when Hitler is rising into power. And it's really interesting to see how this affects his travels, because all of a sudden, when locals see him, he's a German. Does that make sense? He's someone who's a part of this country that's kind of making the world news for the wrong reasons. So he actually, at some point, local Indian authorities jailed him as a spy. And they said that it was due to the theory that his kayak could operate as a submarine as well as a plane. So they're worried that he's a spy.
That's
Which,
awesome.
we're laughing at it, but honestly, with the things that country was doing at the time, you can see that people are
kind of cautious of
Yeah.
cautious of that
Exactly.
type of
It's
Yeah.
funny how those rumors came to bite him back in the butt eventually, though. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
just
thing. Can you imagine like a one-person kayak that turns into a submarine? That'd be awesome.
that would be pretty cool. If there's a company like that, let us know. You can sponsor this podcast.
Give us a free one.
So from Sri Lanka, he moves on towards Singapore. Before he leaves, actually, in Sri Lanka, he meets a British journalist who he kind of begins a romantic relationship with, but obviously he's a man on a mission, on the run.
and he shouldn't have thrown
He's
out
a lone
that
wolf.
second seat in the back of the kayak he threw
Oh,
out.
that's true. Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
What's interesting is as he's sharing his stories with her, she tries to give him tips on how to write better so that he can turn his writing into money-making articles.
That is genius.
Wow.
It's very smart, honestly, because she tells him that he sucks at writing. It's very kind of as a matter of fact, like, I did this, went here, did that, and just no descriptive language, no
opinions. It's just the facts.
No plot twists.
And right around this time, his family starts writing him, asking him to please come back to Germany. And in one of the letters, one of the family members says, "We don't really understand why you can't or don't want to earn your money by working like everybody else." It remains a fact that we all have to get by on what we are earning, even if the times are such that we are not earning a fortune from our work. So obviously, as they're sending money to him, and as German kind of nationalism is rising up, they're like, why don't you come back? And his sister, his favorite sister who was sending him money earlier, jumps in on, guilting him to come back. She writes him a letter that says, on January 18th, Dad turned 70. We were all there, only you were missing.
Ooh.
Kind of hitting those
Wow,
strings.
that's good writing right there.
That made me think of the Royal Tenenbaums. I don't know why. Just kind of
Yeah.
very artsy scene there.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
But good movie. Wes Anderson, please get in touch with us. This is such a
Stop with the promotions,
film.
yeah.
We sound so desperate.
What is Wes Anderson going to do for us? Like,
Somebody sponsor us.
We are so sorry, guys. We're so sorry. So eventually, he makes his way to Singapore. East Indies are a whole nother problem for him because they're new languages that he doesn't speak. It's further financial problems for him. And as Germany is rising towards nearing World War II, starts even further political challenges for him. And there's a lot of sea change. This area is heavily affected by monsoons. Because of all the islands around Indonesia, it's just water changes very, very quickly. And you have to go through narrow openings and then immediately into larger bodies of water. So this is a very, very hard part of the journey for him. So he makes it to Jakarta in Indonesia, and he's surprised here because he receives a warm welcome. And the people who welcome him with open arms are actually a lot of Germans who live in the area. They take him in and they have him travel around to kind of different German clubs and societies in the area and start giving him money. And with this money, he actually buys like a nicer camera for himself. And before he leaves, this guy named Trautmann, who's the Ortsgruppenleiter, which means the district group leader of the Nazi party in the area, tells him, he's this pure Aryan man, and he should go forth, remain what he is, an agent of the new Germany, Viking spirit, all this stuff.
Man.
that kind of backfired, like the whole kayaking thing.
Wow.
It's really hard to tell at this point of how much Speck was actually associating himself with the party, because it never seems like he's associating himself as a Nazi, but it's not out of the question that he was nationalistic, not necessarily in
Kind of racial.
the negative sentiments that the Nazi party started to foster in Germany, but more just being a German.
Yeah. I think everybody this time was swept up in it a lot. I mean, we forget sometimes how bound by our cultures we are. I mean, it was a huge movement. And again, there was that racial sentiment kind of all over Europe. But again, people didn't really know. We have hindsight to know what happened, but people weren't really aware. Oh, this is what Hitler's doing in the background. This wasn't like a super well-known thing at this point. So the negative associations we have with the Nazi party that we rightly do, they weren't always there, especially at the onset of World War
Especially
II.
if you've been in a kayak for however long
Yeah,
Speck has
yeah.
been in his.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, it seems up until this point where he gets to Jakarta and meets these other Germans, it seems he's been able to avoid a lot of the German propaganda and like the Nazi propaganda, turning everybody this kind of nationalistic pro-Nazi party.
It's like he's in a time capsule almost.
Yeah.
It's like the culture is rapidly changing as he's gone, and he's seeing tail end effects of it as he travels around the world, hitting other civilized areas. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, imagine like during this time period, of all the decades he could have been traveling in a kayak, I think this would have been one of the most interesting ones just because of how much cultural change is going on in his home country. That's just fascinating to me. He's missing one of the craziest time periods probably in modern German history because he's on on a little kayak
Yeah.
going around. That's just, it is like a time capsule. That's
Well,
pretty.
it's a good time to get out of Germany.
That's
Fair.
true.
I mean, fair
That
enough.
is true.
Anyway, so he's in Jakarta talking to these other Germans. So what next, Dan?
Yeah, so they start, funding him and giving him loans and whatnot. He makes his way to Surabaya, which is the second largest city on the island of Java. And from there, he tells all his relatives and people he's mailing back and forth with that they should send everything to Thursday Island. That's going to be his next mail drop. And that's an Australian island. So he's thinking by the end of the year, I'm going to be there. No worries. But his travels are delayed extensively, which he did not foresee.
Oh, but he's so close.
He is, but so hold on, we'll get there. It takes a turn for the worse for him.
Oh no, there is a twist.
Here's the twist.
So as he's leaving that area, his malaria flares again.
Oh no.
So he has to, spend weeks on end in different towns just trying to heal up. And the waters in the area are super hard, like I mentioned. So he's trying to make it through there. At one time, he's going through one of the toughest stretches of water that was called the Devil's Passage by the Dutch. And he decides to zigzag it to try to get to this tiny island in between. And the distance was actually only 16 miles, but the current could go as high up as 19 miles an hour.
Oh.
So
wow.
he actually spends 3 straight days trying to go there, but is forced back and tries to go up and forced back. So on the 4th day, he finally reaches that island and eventually makes it to Timor in July of 1937. At this point, he's 2 months behind schedule, which you might think that's not horrible, but his time is dictated by the climate. And because of the monsoons, when he gets there, it's right around monsoon season. He's blown off 40 miles off course on 25-mile crossing that he attempts. So he has to just stay down, and he spends months in other villages and towns he can find because he just can't make any progress. But he still hopes that by December of 1937, he'll be in Australia. But he doesn't, again, realize just how much more time it's going to take for him. The biggest setback at this point happens when he's on the island of Lakor, and the natives start talking with him, and they're telling him that the best time would be around 5 a.m. So he says, "Thank you for your help," goes down to the beach, and decides to sleep in his boat. Around midnight, the islanders come back. They wake him up, and they say, "Hey, you have to leave now." And he wakes up and says, "Like, what are you talking about? Why do I have to leave now?" But all of a sudden, they pull out their knives and spears and machetes. So he pulls out his pistol in order to defend himself. But as soon as he does that, one of the natives quickly jumps around behind him with a knife to his neck, and they capture him.
Whoa.
Uh-oh.
That's a twist right there.
That's the twist. They beat him up. They take a few of his stuff. They tie him down and leave him on the beach, and they go back to their village. During this time, he's chewing on his bindings. He's trying to cut them on rock, and he's able to slip free eventually. As soon as he gets on his boat and he goes off a mere few yards, he's free because the natives don't have any boats.
Oh.
Wow.
He just leaves land and he makes it alive. But he's so badly injured that he has to go back to Surabaya, which is that second largest city on the island of Java, which is more than 1,600 miles back that he has to go for medical treatments. Because along the way, he's trying to find hospitals, he's trying to find areas, but the only things he can find are like extremely small missionary clinics that don't have the right equipment. So they have to send him to the major city of Surabaya. So he's in Surabaya, and he's stuck there for a whole year before he can travel.
So he's still recovering from malaria at this time as well in Surabaya?
Yeah.
So along with the injury.
Along with the injuries. So one of the injuries was actually his left eardrum was punctured.
Oh.
So he has some serious illnesses at this point. And the Dutch are growing more hostile towards him, and they don't want to let him pass by the Dutch territory at all. So they tell him to go a completely different route to Australia, which is just impossible because it's hundreds of miles of open ocean. So he gets them to allow him to go around the northern side of Papua New Guinea because that's not Dutch territory.
Huh.
But that would mean he has to pretty much circumnavigate the entirety of the second largest and at the time least explored island in the world.
Wow.
Here's the thing, right? So for any audience members, if you want to look at a map of this, so he's in Indonesia, which is so close to Australia, but he has to go all the way around Papua New Guinea, which is so much farther.
That is so many
Yeah,
extra
so
miles.
that adds 2,500 miles.
Dude.
Jeez.
On a kayak?
It's insane. This adds so much time to his journey.
That's ridiculous.
I love that he's experiencing the world politics in his own little world right now.
Yeah.
Like it's like a proxy war. He's like experiencing all the animosity. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, as you guys remember, he had everyone send all the money and stuff to Thursday Island. He's not there, and it's been over a year. So all that money is starting to be returned and whatnot. And a lot of people were starting to presume that he was dead. But to his luck, apparently the postal system was remarkable in those days. Like they had these fast mail boats that it's mentioned because of persistent bureaucrats, apparently. But like these mail boats were able to travel from port to port and try to find important letters that had to reach people. And he apparently even received German pastries by mail. So, technology, man.
I guess back then, like the mail had to be good because it was the only thing they had to rely on.
Besides
Yeah.
like telegraph and I mean they had telephones, but the
But
telephone,
for like delivering
Right,
stuff and like and money and anything, like they couldn't just transfer funds into his bank account. They had
Right.
to they had to actually send stuff.
Yeah. So he's getting really close at this point. He passes through Port Moresby on August 9th of 1939. That's fairly close towards Australia. So in September of 1939, he reaches Daru, which is one of the southern islands of Papua New Guinea. So he's very close to Australia at this point.
oh wow, that's really close. There's a little tip of Australia that pokes up right underneath Papua New Guinea, and that's probably like, I mean, I imagine it's probably like a maybe less than 100-mile stretch.
Yeah, he's extremely close, and local fishermen give him news about Europe and about what's going on, and that he has to go talk to the local magistrate. The local magistrate tells him that they need the British officials back in Port Moresby to give him the okay to go on towards Australia because of all the German aggression at this point and, the talk about him maybe being a spy and whatnot. So the local magistrate writes, and British officials tell him, go ahead, he can go. He had to leave his pistol and anything else he had that, kind of posed a threat. And the local magistrate said to leave immediately in case a decision be reversed. So he leaves, he packs everything he has left, gets on his kayak, and lands on Saibai Island, just north of mainland Australia.
Wow.
And this is an Australian island. So he finally arrives
made it.
You reached it.
in Australia.
Wow.
And as soon as he arrives, local police come up to him, they congratulate him, and they arrest him.
Aww.
No,
No.
man just wants to paddle in peace. Let him paddle.
I can imagine like going for the handshake and then pulls out the handcuffs. And, like,
Pull the
There's a
sneak on
twist.
you.
Yeah.
Are you watching closely? That's from the Prestige.
It's amazing that he leaves probably totally amicable with anybody he goes with, and he ends on the wrong side of a war.
there's
this
a lot
context.
of bad
Exactly,
luck
yeah.
that's going on.
That's
It's like
crazy.
this whole journey like had a rough start and then had a pretty decent middle with the parties in India and then a really rough ending.
But then redemption of actually arriving, but then getting arrested. This is a really good story, actually. Someone should make a movie out of this.
That's fun.
It's true. It's like Life of Pi, like Life
It
of
is like Life of
Oscar.
Pi.
Life of Speck.
Except this time he intentionally was in the water,
A speck in the water.
in the kayak.
So what happened after this? How did it all end?
So they go through his, passport stuff. They're going through papers, photos, because he actually landed on that island with a Nazi flag that was given to him by the
right,
German
right,
club
yeah.
back in Jakarta.
That's not very inconspicuous of him.
Yeah, they find the occasional Heil Hitler and his letters and whatnot to the Germans, but they conclude eventually that he was neither a Nazi nor a spy. And in their official notes about him, they wrote that Speck is always a loyal German, but no signs have been found of definite political activity.
Gotcha.
So they release him, and for the next 6 years, he just kind of disappears. No one knows what's going on. But as the war really kind of emerges, they actually have him in prison camps. And apparently at this time, Australia separated their prison camps into two. One was non-political Germans, and two was prisoners of war and actual kind of officials and agents actually involved with the war. So Speck was put in the former because he didn't have any relations necessarily, but he was a German. But he demands to be put in the other camp because he says he's loyal to the Reich. So he's kind of, I don't know if he's getting a little delusional at this point because he finally makes it to Australia, but he's captured and he's in prison. So I'm sure he's not happy at this point. But anyway, thankfully he doesn't rile up too much, and he's released on January of 1946.
After the war. Wow.
Yeah, after the war.
So wait, so how long was he in prison then? He was released in 1946. Was he arrested in 1939?
Yes.
Wow.
7 years?
7 years he's in prison.
Wow.
Wow.
So he's finally released, and this was, like James said, right after the war, and just before he turned 39, which is crazy to think that we've been through his whole life story and he's only 39, honestly.
You know, what's funny is while this was happening, Mad Jack was sailing to Burma on his way to try to go to Japan when the war ended.
Wow.
So they were probably not too far from each other at this point. Wow.
Close by.
And so he actually settles in Australia, and he finds his own opal mine and becomes a pretty successful opal dealer.
Wow.
So
Jeez,
mining
again,
makes
he
a
goes
comeback.
back to mining. That's so great. I love that he
back to the roots.
decided to stay in Australia, but not just that, he decided to stick with mining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goes back to his first love.
At this point, because it's been so long since he wanted to mine in Cyprus that he's like, well, wherever I am, I'll just mine something. Like, I just love that.
Yeah, and I'll leave you guys off with this one. He never sees his parents again. He only returns to Germany once, and that's in 1970. And he just really doesn't like it there. And he never quite gets the recognition that he wanted, and honestly that he deserves for what he's done. And towards the end of his life, he writes one of his last letters to his sister. He says, I am satisfied, recognition or no recognition. We have a strange situation, one of the most difficult world records to this day, and it will still be in 100 years, and wholly unknown. But I am satisfied. The war interfered much more with millions of fates. Why shouldn't I be satisfied?
That's, I think
Wow.
that's a good
I can
outlook.
appreciate that.
You know, that's very fair. Like, he's saying, yeah, the war kind of interfered with my kayaking journey, but in terms of people who were affected by the war, I'm definitely on the bottom of the pile.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like he had a good perspective about his accomplishments in light of everything that was going on.
Yeah.
Wow.
So nothing in the story made me respect him as much as this last part, seeing him reflect on his life and say, you know what? People might not have recognized this incredible feat, but I had it better than many other people. So
Yeah.
good on him for realizing that.
Wow.
I will say, I feel a little conflicted with this guy because on
A lot of
one
layers
hand,
there, you know?
yeah, he's a very complex guy. Like on one hand, his accomplishments are very heroic with his endurance and his adventure, and then at the same time, kind of like leaving his family behind and leaving the stability and having people like support him to do this kind of adventure. It's just an interesting guy.
Well, and also, potentially a Nazi, like, depending on who you ask. Like, not really a true Nazi, but still like a German and flying the flag.
He's an unsung hero in the sense of his accomplishments, because you don't really think, oh, we're gonna sing the praises of a guy who belonged to Nazi Germany in terms of.
But then it's like, did he really, like, how much of belonging to Nazi Germany, like?
Sure.
He was in a kayak for most of the time when Hitler was rising to power. He didn't even know.
Right, yeah. He had already left by the time Hitler rose to power, and then he was in prison until the war ended. So it's like...
And things like the Holocaust, for example, weren't even really brought to light until the years after the war as well. I mean, we sometimes forget this, but that also, probably helps us understand why somebody could be so, fiercely loyal to a party and,
Yeah, and in some of his letters from his family,
Yeah.
they mentioned like, oh, what if whatever you might hear about Germany, it's all wrong. Like, people here would never want something bad for anyone or something like that. And you can imagine when you've gone months without speaking German, probably even years, honestly, at some points, depending on whenever he contacted different Germans. But like when he lands in Jakarta with the Nazi party there, to him, it probably
Right,
didn't
right.
stand
No.
out as being Nazi as much as these were fellow
Interesting.
Germans.
We obviously do not excuse any form of Nazism.
Absolutely
but-
not.
Yeah, but the
It's important to place yourself in the shoes of people living in the time and understand that we have a lot of cultural lenses through which we view things in our time as well. So it's a cool thing to discuss, but definitely really cool story. I like the interesting dynamics going on there with the politics and also the travel and the pure sportsman stuff going on. So,
yeah, I mean, and
really
as
cool.
a just an interesting kayak journey. I mean, you cannot deny the sheer power of his will and his endurance. It's pretty
amazing.
pretty insane.
They should name some kind of boating race after him. Just it's amazing.
This was sort of hard for me to read because I'm not a big fan of the big deep blue ocean.
Yeah,
It's a little scary. So to think about this guy in a little kayak, oh man, that scares me.
That'd
Oh,
be terrifying.
man.
And to go
That
through it with like malaria and injuries to the ear and probably homesickness
Yeah.
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 and missing his cypress and all those things.
Missing the Cyprus.
So, fun fact, guys.
Is it about Cyprus?
No. So, kayak is the second fastest way to travel that is also a palindrome.
Oh.
What's the fastest?
What's the fastest?
Race car.
A palindrome, for those who don't know, is a word that
Is the same spelled forward and backwards.
Yes, yeah.
That's
right.
that's not my joke, but it's I just wanted to bring it up.
That was really good. Wow. But yeah, we want to reassure our audience that singing about this man will have nothing to do with the negative ties of political Germany at the time, solely based on his incredible feat of second fastest palindrome trip around the world.
We got to use that in the song. I feel like it has to come up sometime. And with any person living in our world, we will all have negative associations attached with us. So,
Yeah.
yep.
Still accomplished something
Absolutely.
worthy to be, sung about. So we will definitely be working on that song. Daniel, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you,
for-
Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah, for doing all that research, bringing him to light. We hope
Yeah.
you, any of the audience, enjoyed that. If you want to go ahead and follow us on Instagram at Unsung Heroes Podcast, and we have a Facebook. And if you want to go ahead and leave us a review on iTunes, go ahead and give us them stars. That'd be great.
Or star, depending on how you're feeling.
No, just if it's a 1-star review, just don't leave the review. That's fine.
Talked about Cyprus too much.
No. We
Copper.
in the review. No, we do appreciate all feedback. So go ahead and leave a review over there.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for the song at the end here. Any other remarks, guys?
We need more palindromes in our episodes.
That's true. That's the secret sauce. Yeah.
Thanks so
All
much,
right.
Daniel.
Yeah. of
Thank you,
course.
Daniel.
All right, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
He set out from Germany, kayak in tow. Where the seas would take him, he never would know. His family thought him reckless, and all thought him improper. All he ever wanted was kayaking and copper. From coastline to coastline, he braved the windy gale. The rushing waves are calling him to once again set sail. He sailed on through to Cyprus, so far with good morale. His spirits kept him hopeful until Suez Canal. So he walked through deserts inland, kayak on his back. Homeless and unhappy, he longed to be on track. From coastline to coastline, he braved the windy gale. The rushing waves are calling him to once again set sail. His fortune turned in India, for they knew that he was brave. But the rowdy crowds, they bothered him, so he set out in the waves. He met some helpful natives who turned out to be mean, but he kept a sailing onward till Australia he'd see. From coastline to coastline, he'd brave the windy gale. The rushing waves are calling him until he'd end in jail.